My sister deleted my 11-year-old's high-stakes admission project, the one she spent 5 months working on, just hours before the deadline. Screens are evil, my sister said casually. You'll thank us later, my mother added. I didn't shout. I did this. 3 weeks later, their faces went pale. If anyone had asked me that night how my day was going, I would have said fine. In that automatic, lying-through-your-teeth way tired moms say it. I was just driving over to Mom and Dad's to pick my daughter Mia up. Nothing dramatic. Nothing unusual. Except the moment I stepped out of the car, I felt it. That wrongness. Like the last note of a song was off-key, but everyone kept pretending it wasn't. My nephew Ryan was outside in the driveway throwing a ball with some kid I didn't recognize. He glanced at me, then looked away like he had somewhere more important to be. Fine. Whatever. 11-year-old boys are allergic to eye contact. But Mia wasn't there. And that was the first crack. I walked into the house, and Mom practically pounced. "Oh, Erica, thank God you're here," she said, pressing a hand to her chest like she'd been through some war. "Your daughter has been impossible today." I froze. "Where's Mia?" "Locked herself in the bathroom," Vanessa answered, stepping out from the living room like she'd been waiting for her cue. Her voice had that sharp, triumphant edge she gets when she thinks she's right. Spoiler, she always thinks she's right. Dad didn't even look up from whatever he was stirring on the stove. She threw a tantrum. Over a computer. It's not normal. My stomach clenched. "What do you mean, a computer?" Mom waved her hand. "Sweetie, she was glued to that screen all day. We took it away. She needs to learn to be a kid again." Vanessa nodded with faux wisdom. "Honestly, Erica, she's addicted. It's not healthy. We were doing you a favor." "Oh, a favor. Right, like setting fire to your house to help with heating." "Where is she?" "Bathroom," Vanessa said. "Crying, screaming, total meltdown." That did it. I didn't bother arguing. I knew my child. Mia didn't melt down. She didn't withdraw. She got quiet when overwhelmed, which was worse. I walked down the hallway, each step louder than it needed to be. I knocked. "Mia? It's me." A choked sob came back. Not a tantrum. Not even close. "Sweetheart, open the door." A tiny click. The door opened an inch. Then a little more. Mia stood there with her laptop clutched against her chest like it was a wounded animal. Her face was blotchy and wet, her whole body shaking. My heart dropped. "Mom," she whispered, and the word cracked in the middle. They deleted it." I crouched down. "Deleted what, baby?" She burst into fresh tears. "My project. My whole project. They took my laptop and I tried to tell them, but they said screens were bad and I needed to go outside, and then Aunt Vanessa said she deleted everything I had open because she thought it was games, and Mom, it's gone. All of it. 5 months. Gone." The world went completely still, like a vacuum. Like nothing existed except Mia's shattered voice. I pulled her into me and stood, holding onto her because I wasn't sure which one of us might collapse. "Show me," I said, trying to keep my voice level, even though I could taste metal in my mouth. We walked back into the dining room where Vanessa stood like she was waiting for applause. "Oh, Erica, don't overreact," she said, rolling her eyes. "I deleted whatever she had open. Kids don't need that much screen time. You should be thanking me." Mom nodded. "Exactly. It was for her own good. For her own—" I couldn't finish that sentence. There were too many possible endings, all of them involving profanity. Mia sat at the table and opened the laptop with shaky fingers, clicked the folder, clicked again, and again. Empty. 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 She let out this quiet, broken sound. like she'd been punched in the chest but didn't have the air to cry for real. Vanessa shrugged. She'll get over it. It's just files. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. For her. Of course. I stared at her, and something inside me, something I'd kept folded and quiet for years, lifted its head. Mia touched my arm. Mom, what do I do? The deadline's tomorrow morning. Her voice was so small I almost didn't hear it. I put my hand over hers. We'll figure it out. Vanessa smirked in the doorway. Honestly, Erica, if she's crying like this over a computer, maybe it's good we intervened. Kids these days need grounding. Grounding. Right. I looked at her. Really looked. And Mom. And Dad. Standing together, united in their smug certainty, as if they hadn't just gutted an 11-year-old's future. At the time, I thought they were just ignorant, careless, dismissive, maybe cruel, but nothing more. I didn't know yet. I didn't know how deep the betrayal went. I didn't know what they were hiding. I didn't know how far they'd already gone. Not then, but I'd find out soon enough. And what I discovered in the weeks that followed would change everything. I didn't tell Mia this part that night. Honestly, I didn't want her to see how much it shook me. But as I drove home with her sobbing in the back seat, clutching her empty laptop like a broken limb, one truth kept burning through my skull. They didn't just delete files. They deleted her future. 5 months ago, Mia got the packet for the scholarship admission project. Not a cute little write about your favorite animal assignment. No, this was the kind of project private schools use to decide which kids were worth investing in. The kind of thing parents brag about on Facebook for 2 years straight. The kind of opportunity my daughter, a shy, brilliant, STEM-obsessed kid, had been preparing for like it was her Olympic event. It was writing, research, coding, presentation design, creativity, logic. The whole academic buffet. And Mia had devoured every inch of it. Voluntarily, joyfully. Meanwhile, Ryan spent that time leveling up in whatever game he was obsessed with that week. Vanessa called that normal childhood development. But here's the thing. My family has a long history of breaking things. This time, they just broke something that belonged to a mother who's finally done being polite. And if I wanted to understand how they became experts at pretending this behavior was normal, I had to rewind. Growing up, I was always the other daughter. Vanessa could set the house on fire, and Mom would explain why the matchstick had provoked her. Meanwhile, if I breathed wrong, I'd get a lecture about attitude. My entire childhood was one long, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" soundtrack. And the sick thing? I believed them. I believed I was the problem. Vanessa was the golden one. I was the one who needed to try harder. There was never a moment, not one, where anyone chose me. By adulthood, I should have grown out of it, right? You'd think motherhood and a mortgage would earn me a graduation certificate from dysfunctional family academy. But nope, the pattern just evolved. Vanessa became the perfect mother with the perfect son. I became the background utensil whose job was to smile, help, and accept criticism while they praised their living room shrine to Ryan's achievements. He got a B in math. He's gifted. Meanwhile, Mia could cure cancer and they'd ask if she remembered to say thank you. I spent years brushing it off. It's just family, I'd tell my husband Daniel. They don't mean anything by it. I'm probably imagining it. But deep down I knew the truth. And the truth tasted a lot like bile. When the scholarship competition was announced, both kids were excited. Something they could do together, supposedly. Ryan made a Canva slide and got bored after an hour. He announced at dinner that he was dropping out because it's dumb. Vanessa praised his self-awareness. Mia, meanwhile, lit up like someone plugged her into a generator. She spent 5 months building something incredible. She never complained, never bragged. She was excited. And my parents knew. Vanessa knew. Everyone knew how much work she'd poured into it. Which is why, when they took her laptop and deleted everything, I thought, naively, that it was just ignorance. Just them not understanding. Just them being careless. I told myself they didn't mean to destroy her chances. They didn't think it through. They just didn't understand how important it was. Back then, that's genuinely what I believed. But the truth? The truth crawled in later. Slow, ugly, heavy, and every new piece of information felt like a bruise forming under the skin. We didn't talk on the drive home. Not because I didn't want to, but because Mia was sitting in the back seat like someone had unplugged her soul, arms wrapped around her laptop, eyes staring at nothing, breathing too quiet. By the time we stepped through the front door, my chest hurt, like an actual physical ache, the kind only rage and helplessness can make. Mia sat on the living room rug and opened the laptop before I'd even taken my shoes off. "Okay," I said softly. "Let's just look." She clicked the project folder. Still empty. She swallowed hard. Maybe it's in the trash?" I suggested, kneeling beside her. My voice was too bright, like a kindergarten teacher trying to distract a child from a gaping wound. Mia clicked. Trash. Empty. Her lip trembled. Why would she empty the trash? Who empties the trash? "Apparently your aunt," I muttered. Dry humor. My only survival mechanism. She made a choking noise. Half sob, half laugh. Like her last nerve had snapped in half. "Okay." I tried again. "Okay, let's think. Maybe it's backed up somewhere." Mia blinked at me, eyes huge and terrified. "Where?" I didn't have a clue, but moms aren't allowed to say "I don't know" during crises. "Maybe in your email," I said. "Did you ever send anything to your teacher?" Mia opened her email, scrolled. For a moment I held my breath so hard I thought I'd explode. Then Mia whispered, "Mom, look." An attachment. A file. Old. Incomplete. But real. The January version. Not the final one. Not even close. But something. Mia's shoulders sagged with relief and horror at the same time. "This is all we have," she said quietly. And somehow, that was worse. I sat down on the floor next to her. "We'll rebuild it." She shook her head. "Mom, it's too much. It took months." I put my hand over hers. "Then we'll do months in a night." She looked up at me. The tiny, exhausted tilt of her chin nearly destroyed me. But she nodded. We opened the old file. And the real work began. The first hour was mostly tears. Mia's, mine. Both of ours, hard to tell. She'd scroll down and gasp, "I wrote a whole section here. I can't remember it." And then crumble. Or, "I had charts here. I had diagrams." Before burying her face in her hands. Every time she cried, something inside me cracked. And every time something cracked, something else hardened. Vanessa hadn't just deleted files. She'd deleted pieces of my daughter's confidence, one click at a time. Around midnight, we had about 1/4 of the project reconstructed. It looked like a skeleton. Recognizable, but sad and bare. Mia stared at the empty sections like they were crime scenes. "I hate this," she said softly. "It's not good. It's not the same." "No," I said. "It's not." She blinked at me like she wasn't expecting honesty. "But it's still yours," I added. "And we're still submitting something. We're not letting them take that too." She wiped her nose on her sleeve. "What if it's not enough?" "It'll be enough to prove you showed up," I said. "And sometimes that's half the war." She snorted. "That's not comforting." "Good," I said. "It wasn't meant to be comforting. It's meant to be true." She actually laughed. A tiny, exhausted puff of a laugh. Then she kept typing. Around 2 a.m., she hit a wall. Her fingers froze above the keys. She whispered, "Mom, I can't remember the last part. The whole ending. It's gone." Her voice sounded like glass cracking. I gently pulled the laptop toward me. "Let me try." I typed until my eyes burned, badly, awkwardly, like a raccoon trying to write a thesis. She leaned on my shoulder, reading silently, eyebrows pinched in pain. "It's not what I wrote," she murmured. "I know," I said. "But we'll fix it." She didn't believe me. I barely believed myself. By 4 a.m., she was slumped sideways against me, cheeks sticky with old tears. Her little hands rested on the keyboard like they were too tired to try anymore. I kept typing, and typing, and deleting, and typing again. Somewhere around 6 a.m., Mia fell asleep curled against my hip. I didn't dare move. At 7:52 a.m., she woke up long enough to hit submit. Then she whispered, "I don't even want to know the result." The next 2 weeks were long, quiet, and filled with the kind of tension you feel in waiting rooms. Even my husband moved more gently, like the air around Mia might break if touched wrong. But the silence was worse than crying, worse than rage. It was the silence of a child who'd lost something she built with her entire heart. And I was waiting for something too. The moment my parents or Vanessa would show a flicker of remorse. A crack. A hint of guilt. Nothing. They didn't call. They didn't text. They didn't check on Mia. They moved on like they'd simply cleaned out a junk drawer. Like nothing significant had happened. And that silence was its own kind of answer. Something was off. Something was wrong. Something didn't add up. But I kept pushing the thought away because the alternative, the darker explanation, was too painful to consider. Not yet. 2 weeks later, Mia walked into the kitchen holding her Chromebook like she'd found a bomb. "Mom," she said, "they posted the finalists." I dried my hands and took the laptop. Her name wasn't there. Ryan's was. I stopped breathing. I couldn't blink. I couldn't speak. It felt like someone opened the front door of my brain and punched me in the face. Mia stared at the ground. He didn't even want to keep going. I swallowed. My mouth tasted like metal. Let's see the description." She clicked. I read. The back of my neck prickled. My stomach dropped. The room tilted. The project topic, the formatting, the phrasing, the concept. I knew it. I had read it. Lived through it. Because Mia wrote it. "Mia," I whispered. I don't know what this means yet. But something isn't right." I drove to my parents' house with Mia beside me, silent and trembling. Vanessa opened the door like she'd been practicing her expression in the mirror, sympathetic, condescending, and smug all at once. "Oh, Erica," she said. "What's up?" I didn't answer. I walked past her. Mom and Dad were in the living room, pretending to be surprised. "What's going on?" Dad asked. I held up the flyer. "Explain this." Mom squinted. "Oh, Ryan got in. Isn't that great?" "Where did his project come from?" I asked. Dad frowned. "Are you accusing us of something?" "I'm asking," I said, "what he submitted." Vanessa's smile flickered. A crack. A glitch. Then she smoothed it over. "You're being ridiculous," she said. "Mia is upset she didn't get picked. You're feeding it." Mia stepped behind me, gripping my shirt. I turned to Vanessa. "Tell me the truth." She crossed her arms. "There's nothing to tell." Lie. Mom clasped her hands. "Erica, don't ruin this for Ryan." And there it was. The slip. The truth, buried inside the phrasing. "Ruin what?" I asked quietly. No one answered. I walked out. That night, After Mia was finally asleep, I sent the email. I attached the old drafts, screenshots, dates, timestamps, everything we still had. No accusations, just facts. The kind that cut deeper than any insult. The committee replied in the morning, "We will review this." That was it. No promises, no reassurance. But I didn't need reassurance. I just needed the truth. 2 days later, the school posted a flyer. Finalist presentations. Open to the public. Ryan's name was at the top. Vanessa texted me, "Don't come. Seriously, don't embarrass yourself." I stared at the message. Then I turned my phone off. I wasn't planning to embarrass myself, but someone else was about to be embarrassed. And they had no idea what was coming. If you've never walked into an auditorium knowing a bomb is going to go off, but no one else realizes they're standing 5 feet from the blast radius, let me tell you, it's a special kind of adrenaline. Mia and I stepped through the doors, and the air practically crackled. People chatting, programs rustling, families taking photos. Normal, innocent chaos. Meanwhile, I felt like I was walking in with a live grenade tucked under my arm. Vanessa spotted us first. Her face pinched like she'd bitten a lemon dipped in battery acid. She whispered something to her husband Trevor, who looked like he wanted to dissolve into the chair, and then hissed across the aisle, "I told you not to come." I smiled sweetly. "Oh, Vanessa, you know I never listened to you." Mom whipped around. "Erica, don't start." Dad followed with, "Let's keep things civil today." Civil? Right. Apparently stealing a child's 5-month project and passing it off as your son's is the new definition of civil. Mia squeezed my hand. She looked nervous but strangely composed, like she'd decided she'd rather face a firing squad than be afraid of Vanessa ever again. Good. She was growing up beautifully. Ryan's name was called halfway through the program. He walked on stage looking like someone had shoved him there with a cattle prod. Pale, sweaty, eyes darting everywhere. I almost felt bad for him. Almost, until I remembered the night Mia cried herself sick because her entire future was wiped out by adults who thought she didn't matter. He cleared his throat into the mic. "This is, my project. It's about community, things, improving stuff. Inspirational." He clicked to the next slide like it might explode in his hands. Judges leaned forward, clearly confused when the boy who supposedly created a multi-layer urban planning model couldn't explain what a community anchor point was. His voice shook. It's like people and things. Professor-level analysis. Then a judge asked, "What was the most challenging part of your research process?" Ryan froze. He looked at Vanessa like he expected her to run on stage and rescue him. She stared back, smiling at him like an airbrushed refrigerator magnet. Then Mia raised her hand. Not timidly, not reluctantly, like a girl who had been quiet long enough. A judge blinked at her. "Yes?" Mia stood. Her voice trembled for 1 second. Just one, before she steadied. "You're asking about the research process?" she said. "For this project?" Ryan's eyes widened. Vanessa's head snapped toward us so fast I heard something crack. The judge nodded slowly. "Yes?" Mia launched into an explanation so clean, sharp, and articulate that the entire auditorium seemed to lean in. She described demographic mapping, survey modeling, community use patterns, all the things she worked on for months. She spoke like someone who breathed the material. Ryan spoke like someone who had learned English yesterday. A wave of murmurs washed through the crowd. Vanessa hissed, "Sit down, Mia." Mom added, "This is embarrassing." Dad muttered, "Such a show-off." I ignored them. By the time Mia finished, the judges exchanged looks. The kind of looks that said, "Ah, we see exactly what happened here." One of them stood. "Could we see both families backstage, please?" Vanessa's face went corpse white. Trevor's soul left his body. Mom clutched her purse like she might throw it at someone. We followed the judges into a side room where one of them, Dr. Harris, folded his hands. "We have reason to believe this project was not created by Ryan." Silence. Thick. Electric. I unlocked my phone, pulled up the drafts, the timestamps, the emails. "This is Mia's work," I said. "Every version, every step." Vanessa lunged forward. "That is a lie! Erica manipulated those. She taught Mia to say those things." Dr. Harris raised an eyebrow. "You're alleging fabrication?" "Yes!" Vanessa shrieked. "Yes! They stole my son's work!" My mother, who apparently followed us into the room without invitation, chimed in. "Erica always wants attention. She's making Mia lie." Dad nodded. "This is harassment. Our family won't be slandered." And then a judge quietly asked Ryan, "Did you make this project?" Ryan stared at the floor. His chin quivered. His hands shook. "Ryan," Mia whispered softly. "It's okay," Vanessa snapped. "Don't talk to him!" Ryan broke. "Mom made me," he sobbed. "She said Mia doesn't deserve everything. She said I had to win. She said she'd be disappointed if I didn't. I didn't even want the scholarship." Trevor closed his eyes like he was begging God to erase his entire marriage. Dr. Harris exhaled slowly. "That settles it." Vanessa sputtered. "He's lying. He's being manipulated. Dr. Harris raised his hand. "Ryan is disqualified. Effective immediately." Mom gasped like he'd announced the earth was ending. "And," he added, "because this scholarship carries financial value, we are required to file an official fraud report." Vanessa's mouth hung open. Trevor whispered, "Oh my God." Mom grabbed Dad's arm. "Do something." Dad answered, "What? Bribe them?" For once, he sounded sane. "And," Dr. Harris continued, "given the testimonies and the pressure placed on Ryan, we are referring this to CPS for review." Vanessa looked like someone had unplugged her brain. I felt a strange calm settle over me. Not joy, not triumph, just a deep, exhausted relief that someone, finally, saw what my family really was. A judge turned to Mia. "You are the rightful creator. You will receive the scholarship." Mia's eyes filled. Not with the same tears she'd cried in that bathroom weeks ago. These were different. She nodded quietly. "It's been 6 months, and every morning Mia heads into school with a confidence I used to only see in glimpses. She's in the gifted program now, the one the scholarship earned her a spot in. And she talks about it like it's her second home. She comes back every day with things I don't fully understand. Half-built engineering prototypes, research assignments that look like graduate-level work, group projects with kids who love learning as much as she does. She has friends who challenge her, teachers who actually see her, and a spark I was terrified had died the night her laptop was wiped. And she's happy. Really, truly happy. My family? Their timeline looks different. Ryan ended up switching schools. Mutual decision, Vanessa claims, even though every parent in their old district knows the truth. Fraud sticks. Even at the new school, people whisper. Invitations dried up fast. Vanessa now has an official fraud note on her record. Nothing dramatic, but enough to block certain jobs and shred her PTA ambitions. CPS still checks in from time to time after what Ryan confessed. Mom and Dad lost most of their social circle. Turns out sabotaging a child doesn't make you very popular at potlucks. We're no contact now. Peaceful. Quiet. Honestly, better. Mia is thriving. Their lives? Not so much. So what do you think? Did I go too far or not far enough? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more. My parents, the emotional vampires that they are, Gave my 8-year-old Lily a broken plastic horse for New Year's, from a bargain bin with one leg snapped off. Then my dad announced in front of everyone, "She's the unfavorite granddaughter. The real presents are for your cousins." Lily burst into tears. Everybody laughed. 20 minutes later, I gave them a present they're still choking on. My parents have always made the family hierarchy painfully clear. My sister Melissa and her twin boys, golden children. My brother Daniel, acceptable, as long as he keeps his head down and agrees with them. Me? I'm the workhorse. Come early, Aaron. Cover the front desk, Aaron. Clean up the mess at the office when we're too tired to lift a finger, Aaron. But when it comes to love and actual respect, suddenly there's a long line. I'm at the very end, if I'm even in the building. Lily isn't in that line at all. As far as they're concerned, she barely qualifies as a grandchild, just a prop. And yet, I'm a chronic optimist, the dumb kind. This year, I told myself, might finally be different. My parents are getting older. Their health has started to wobble. Maybe it would finally click that they'd blown off 6 of Lily's birthdays in a row. At least they could make her happy for New Year's. We have this family tradition. Gifts on New Year's Day, not Christmas. Don't ask. Some people ski, some people watch football. My parents do carefully choreographed emotional damage. Lily, I told her, we're going to Grandma and Grandpa's for New Year's. She literally jumped. Spent 2 days picking out a dress. Printed a photo of her and my dad from last summer when he let her hold his fishing rod on the river and even smiled like a human. She still tells that story like it was a fairy tale. On January 1st, we showed up early, presents in hand, like good little relatives. I knew it was a mistake within 10 seconds. The house looked like a sporting goods catalog had exploded. Lights everywhere, decorations, a fake tree that could have hosted its own NFL halftime show. My mom was smiling so hard her face looked frozen. Melissa already had her phone out, filming everything for her Instagram stories. The twins, Connor and Ethan, were parked in front of a mountain of gifts, vibrating like they were at Disneyland. Lily? Completely invisible. No hi. No Happy New Year. No hug. Nothing. She pressed herself into my side on the edge of the couch, clutching the photo in a little homemade frame, waiting. Then the present parade started. The nephews got everything. Brand new tablets, shiny bikes, name brand sneakers, art sets with their names printed on them. Even Buddy, the family husky mix, got a big bag of treats from the pet store. Lily sat and watched, polite like I'd taught her, and my insides boiled. Why did I let her hope? Finally, my mom reached under the tree and pulled out a sad, crumpled paper bag that looked like it had been stepped on half torn, tape barely holding. She stared at it like she didn't remember wrapping it, then silently handed it to Lily. Inside was a cheap plastic horse from some dollar store dump bin. One leg snapped clean off, scratched up on the side, and someone had scribbled on it with permanent marker. Letters, doodles, who knows. It looked exactly like something you'd grab off a flea market tarp for $0.25. Lily stared at the horse. Didn't say a word. That's when my dad, already half buzzed, smirked and announced loud enough for the whole room, "She's the unfavorite one. The real presents are for your cousins." And the room howled. Adults. Kids. Melissa practically glowed with satisfaction. My mom didn't even twitch an eyebrow. Just went back to handing gifts to the real grandkids. Lily's eyes filled instantly. She tried so hard to hold it in. Couldn't. Covered her little face with both hands and started sobbing. I froze for 1 second. Not because I didn't care. Because something inside me clicked into place. Rage, shame, and this sharp, icy clarity all at once. Daniel shot to his feet. "This is disgusting!" he snapped. "You're humiliating a child in front of everyone." They'd completely lost it by then. My dad barked, "Sit down and shut up." Melissa rolled her eyes. I took Lily into the hallway to calm her down. She kept whispering through hiccups. Maybe it's a mistake? Maybe my real present is in another room? No, sweetheart, I said quietly. That's it. She cried harder. That was it for me too. No more pretending this was just how family is. No more, they're old school, they don't mean it. Enough. About 20 minutes later, the laughter in the living room had faded to lazy small talk. Melissa was glued to her phone, posting proof of the perfect family holiday. My mom was cutting cake. Everyone was comfortable again. I walked back in, calm, went straight to the tree, carefully picked up the 2 expensive gifts I'd brought for my parents. The kind of thoughtful presents adult kids buy when they're still hoping to earn a little affection, and put them back into their bags my dad noticed first. "What are you doing?" he asked. I looked at all of them, even the kids, who were staring now, sensing a storm. "I hope you enjoyed your little show," I said, "because I've got a New Year's gift for you too." You could have heard a pin drop. "I'm done working for you." At first they honestly thought I was joking. My dad gave a nervous laugh. My mom watched me like some seasoned community psychologist, confident I'd calm down in a minute. Melissa rolled her eyes, leaned over to whisper something to her husband Eric, and reached for a second slice of cake. So I laid it out. "I've been preparing all year," I told them, taking classes, building contacts. Last week, my investor, Natalie Graham from Chicago, signed the term sheet. I'm launching my own company, not in some far-off niche, right in yours 2 blocks from your office. Direct competition. And we're doing everything by the book. Transparent structure, white paper payroll, no shady schemes, no nepotism, and definitely no humiliation as parenting. All these years, I'd been watching, learning. They thought I was just their overworked insurance mule, their free safety net. My dad stopped smiling. He pushed back from the table and stood. "Do you have any idea what you're getting into?" he asked. "You don't have the guts for this." My mom went pale. "Why would you do this to us?" she whispered. "What kind of daughter betrays her own family?" "It's pretty simple," I said. "You don't treat me like a daughter, and you sure don't treat Lily like a granddaughter. I'm not betraying a family. I'm getting away from a fire you've been feeding for years." Melissa exploded. "You've always been jealous," she hissed. "You hate that my boys are more successful than your kid." "Successful?" I repeated. "They're 8. They get tablets just for existing. Lily made you a picture frame with her own hands. And what did you do? You used it as a backdrop while you humiliated her in front of everyone, and I'm supposed to be jealous of that?" Daniel had heard enough. He came over, picked Lily up from where she was standing in the hallway clutching that broken horse, trying not to cry. "Come on, kiddo," he told her. "Let's go upstairs, make hot chocolate, and play Monopoly. We'll have a real holiday up there." Before he went, he met my eyes. "You're doing the right thing," he said quietly. "Should have happened a long time ago." Downstairs, my parents completely lost it. My dad yelled that I was ungrateful, that I was walking away from everything they'd built for me. "I built it," I reminded him. "Every overtime, every late-night call, every mess you dumped on me because you couldn't be bothered. You only ever liked me when I shut up and worked myself sick." I grabbed Lily's coat, tucked the broken horse into her bag, and left. No dramatic door slam, no "you'll regret this" speech. Just freedom. Lily fell asleep in the car before we even hit downtown. Pressed against the window, clutching the stuffed bunny Daniel had slipped into her arms upstairs. She wasn't crying anymore. Her face showed something worse. That stunned, hollow quiet when something important inside a kid gets broken and they don't know how to put it back. I hated them for doing that to her. At home, I carried her straight to bed, shoes and all. She didn't wake up. I sat on the edge of her mattress and thought about how long I'd let this go on. I could have left years ago. Should have. But family kept me hooked, as if that word alone meant anything. It doesn't. Not if humiliation is part of the package, that much I know now. That same night, I sent my resignation through our online HR system. No drama, no soul-bearing monologue. Just facts I wrote that I would no longer be working for them, that I was not their backup landing strip, that the midnight WhatsApp messages, emergency cleanups, and constant covering for their negligence were over. Hit send. Waited for the explosion. Nothing. For the first few days, it was dead quiet. No reply at all, like they'd decided to ignore it and hope it blew over. A week later, my mom texted me as if nothing had happened. "Did Lily like the horse?" she asked. "It was just a joke, you know. I didn't mean anything bad." I didn't answer. My silence must have infuriated them, because my dad messaged next. "You're overreacting. You'll regret this. You're not thinking clearly." Sure. My head had never been clearer. January slid by in this strange, echoey calm. Lily started asking harder questions. "Mom," she said one night, curling up next to me on the couch, "did Grandma and Grandpa forget about me?" "Why do you think that?" I asked. "Because if they remembered, they wouldn't laugh when I'm sad." Right between the ribs. "They didn't forget," I said slowly. "But some adults only know how to love the version of a person that makes them feel in charge. Kids like you, with big hearts and quiet voices, don't show off enough. People like that just don't see you properly when what they really care about is control." She didn't fully understand, but she nodded. Then she asked if she could have a pink music jewelry box with a ballerina, the same kind her cousins had gotten from Grandma and Grandpa for New Year's. I bought it the next morning. Told her it was from Grandma and Grandpa. I couldn't keep watching her feel not worthy of real presents because of two bitter adults. By early February, my own company, I called it New Course, was standing on its own legs. Monday morning meetings at 9 a.m., people were calling us first. Even a few last names I recognized from my parents' circle started reaching out. Our investor, Natalie, turned out to be more than a wallet. She actually believed in the idea of building something honest and sustainable. Introduced me to two former execs who wanted to collaborate, warned me to double-check their contracts for non-compete clauses. Within 3 weeks, we had a small office in a downtown business center, a name and logo from a local designer, and 3 people on the team, all folks who'd left my parents' company, Vector, over the years because they were sick of the toxicity. By mid-January, the first 5 clients had signed contracts. By early February, we were up to 10. 2 of them were long-term clients of my parents. I hadn't poached anyone. I didn't call, didn't whisper. They came themselves, signed letters of intent. One of them told me, "I always figured you were the one holding that place together, and the bookkeeping over there was a mess unless you stepped in." Around that time, my phone went oddly silent in one specific direction. No messages from Melissa. No guilt essays from my mom. No snide comments from my dad. But I did notice something else. Melissa's Instagram started to shift. At first, it was the usual breakfast shots, my perfect boys, cute filters. Then came the dramatic quotes about betrayal, family loyalty, snakes disguised as relatives. Subtlety has never been her gift. Russian, auto-generated. Rodi. Then, on a Tuesday, a white envelope showed up in my mailbox, thick, with a gold border. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. Inside, an invitation to a family dinner at my parents' house, only the closest. February 10th. Nothing formal, just sit and talk. No apology, no mention of New Year's, just warm, fake language about family and coming back together. I stared at it for a long time, not because I was tempted, Because I finally understood. They didn't miss me. They needed me. The envelope sat on the kitchen table for days near Lily's crayons, and a half-eaten apple. I walked past it, pretending not to care. I did care, but not about them changing. I knew they wouldn't. I was curious about their next move. Daniel called. He got the same invite. Said he wasn't planning to go, but then something strange happened. Someone from my parents' office let it slip that their oldest, most reliable client had quietly canceled a contract 2 weeks ago. No drama, no announcement, just gone. Funny thing, Daniel added. That same client called you last Friday, didn't he? He had. I'll think about it, I told my brother. Then, without telling anyone, I went. February 10th. Half an hour crawling through traffic to their side of town. The street outside their house was cold, windy, and quieter than I remembered. I walked in through the front door, the way I used to, back when I still played their game. My mom's face was a mix of surprise and calculation, dressed like she was expecting investors, not her daughter. My dad was already at the dining table, reclined in his chair with a glass of brandy, trying to project, "Nothing to see here, just a normal Sunday." Melissa saw me and visibly winced. I hadn't brought Lily. I wasn't bringing her anywhere near that house again. Nobody asked where she was. My mom threw in a passive-aggressive line later about how I was depriving them of their granddaughter, but that was it. We made small talk for about 30 minutes. My dad rambled about the market slipping, competition getting more aggressive. Things used to be easier. My mom bragged that her friends still came to her for advice. Melissa scrolled through photos of her boys, pretending her marriage wasn't falling apart. Then my dad cleared his throat, shifted gears. "We've been thinking," he said. "We understand now how much you contribute. We want to fix things. Really fix them." He looked me straight in the eye. "I'm offering you a partnership, equal shares, full control. Just come back." My mom jumped on the emotional angle. They missed Lily. Family isn't perfect, but they're trying. Yes, mistakes were made, but they're willing to change. Melissa sat there with a sour face, clearly expecting me to beg for this honor. She waited a long time. "I have a question," I said finally. "Why now? After all these years of insults, ignoring me, treating me like hired help, why this moment?" My dad started talking about time healing all wounds. My mom said something about spiritual renewal. So I gave them the real answer. "Because your biggest clients are leaving," I said. "Because Alex Carter, your head of project management, joined my team last week, and you barely noticed because your reputation is tanking and you think I'm your life raft." Melissa snorted, splashing her wine. "You're delusional," she muttered. I pulled out my own envelope. Same size, same gold border. Pushed it across the table to my dad. He opened it, expecting a signed agreement to crawl back. Instead, it was an offer. A buyout of their shares in Vector, based on an independent valuation. No tricks, just a clean exit. Enough for them to retire and save face by calling it a planned transition instead of the collapse it really was. My dad's face turned beet red. My mom went still, then sputtered, "How dare you? How dare you?" "It's a real offer," I said. "We can sit down with attorneys and talk details, just not here. Definitely not in my office where my team works." She blinked like she hadn't heard me right, then shook her head, pitying. "Aaron, what happened to you? You used to be the reasonable one," she said. I smiled. "Exactly. I started treating myself as well as I've always treated all of you. Wild, isn't it?" I left without asking for their blessing. I didn't need it. I had something better. My own life. The next few weeks were strangely peaceful. No screaming phone calls, no storms at my door. Instead, our little company kept growing. People called, clients stayed. Natalie joked that we were scaling faster than her spreadsheets. We had to rent extra space on the floor above our office. Then the whispers started to reach me. Apparently, my dad went to see their biggest client, Peter, the construction boss they'd worked with for decades, to warn him about the risks of dealing with my unstable new outfit. Peter listened, nodded, and called me the next day. "Aaron," he said, chuckling, "I've known your father for 30 years. If he's this worried about your company, you must be doing something right. Let's increase our volume." Shortly after that, I got a shaky phone call from Ellen, my parents' longtime chief accountant. The woman who had practically held their entire operation together for 20 years. "I know you and your parents aren't on good terms," she said, voice trembling. "But I have to warn you. They're getting a full IRS field audit, 3 years of returns. Charles is panicking. You know how the books were kept." I did. Under-the-table salaries, backdated contracts, creative math masquerading as accounting, the exact stuff I'd been trying to drag them away from for years. "Thanks for telling me, Ellen," I said, "but I don't work for them anymore." "I know," she sighed. "It's just a lot of years. Feels strange to watch it all fall apart like this." Saturday brought worse news. Melissa had apparently decided to go through Lily. Her homeroom teacher called me that morning. "Aaron, we had a situation yesterday," she said carefully. "Your sister showed up after school, said you'd asked her to pick Lily up. But we can't release a child without written permission. She pushed pretty hard. We had to get security involved." My blood ran cold. Adult drama is one thing. Using my kid as a pawn? No. I called my lawyer. We sent formal instructions to the school. Only I and Daniel are allowed to pick Lily up, nobody else. No exceptions. Sunday morning, Daniel came over earlier than usual, sat at my kitchen table for a long time, nursing his coffee in silence. "They had an emergency family meeting yesterday," he finally said. "Without me, obviously. I overheard." "Let me guess," I said. "Strategizing about how to put me in my place?" He snorted. "Pretty much. Dad wants to bring in some hotshot corporate attorney from New York, specialist in business wars." "And what did they decide?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "Because while they were arguing, the IRS notice arrived. Field audit starts Monday." We looked at each other, and Daniel just started laughing. "You know that old saying about deck chairs on the Titanic?" he said. "That's them." March came without major explosions, but with lots of small revelations. Not only clients, but employees from Vector started drifting our way. Chloe from sales was first. "Your parents treat people like disposable parts," she said. "You don't. I'd rather work where I'm not afraid to breathe." Then Mike, their old-school logistics guy. "I'm not a kid anymore," he muttered. "But I'm done working in chaos, and Charles has turned that office into a circus." By the end of March, our staff had grown to 15. We rented another office upstairs. The most unexpected phone call came that last week of March. It was Eric, Melissa's husband. "Sorry to bother you," he said, sounding exhausted. "Can we talk? Without Melissa. Off the record." We met at a coffee shop downtown. He looked like he hadn't slept in a month. Stirred his coffee so long the spoon must have memorized the mug. "We're getting divorced," he said finally. "I can't do it anymore. New Year's was the last straw." He told me Melissa had been telling the boys I'm the bad aunt who wants to destroy the family. Connor cries at night now, terrified that Grandpa will go bankrupt and they'll end up on the street. "I'm sorry," I told him. "Don't." He waved it off. "This is on me. I stayed quiet too long. But the worst part? She doesn't even see she's doing to the kids exactly what your parents did to you. Same poison, new packaging." He was planning to move to another city, start over. The court would probably leave the kids with Melissa. He'd get weekends. "Take care of Lily," he said as we parted. She's a gem. You did the right thing getting out. I'm just late to the party. April started with yet another surprise. Ellen showed up at our office in person, dressed for battle. Big tote bag full of files. I'm quitting, she said. No small talk. Can't do it anymore. The audit had unearthed a mess. The fines were going to be huge, and Charles was trying to pin everything on her. I worked for them 30 years, she said. Now suddenly, I'm the scapegoat. I offered her the job of chief accountant at New Course on the spot. She almost cried. You'd really take me? I'm not exactly young anymore. Ellen, I said, you've been holding their business together alone. Of course I'll take you. With Ellen came something we hadn't even expected. They're good clients. Turns out a lot of people had stuck with my parents purely because of her. The one who remembered every birthday, found compromises, actually cared. When she moved, they started calling us. By mid-April, my dad called me for the first time in 2 months. He sounded old. Aaron, we need to talk, he said. Seriously, no emotions, just business. Okay, I said. Come by with Mom tomorrow at 3. I'll have a conference room booked. Thank you. He exhaled and hung up. They showed up together. No Melissa. According to my mom, she was busy with the divorce. They both looked rough. My dad had lost weight. My mom kept twisting a tissue in her hands. We sat down. My dad pulled out a folder and set it in front of me. We're ready to sell, he said. All of it. The IRS had hit them with penalties they couldn't pay. Clients were leaving. Ellen was gone. They'd backed themselves into a corner. My mom stared out the window for a while, then said quietly, We thought we were building an empire. Turns out it was a house of cards. You were right. I read the documents. The offer was straightforward. Sale of their shares at market value. No hidden conditions. But once you factored in debts and penalties, the price was almost symbolic. I'll think about it, I said. You'll have my answer in a week. My dad nodded, gathered the papers. At the door, my mom turned. Aaron. Lily. Could I at least see her sometimes? She asked. I know I haven't earned it, but still. That's up to Lily, I said honestly. If she wants to. That evening, I sat with Daniel and Ellen at my kitchen table, papers spread out. Why do you need their problems? Daniel asked. Our thing is doing fine. Ellen surprised us both by defending the idea, maybe you should, she said. Not for them, for the people still there, the ones who didn't do anything wrong. And honestly, that client list is worth saving. 3 days later, Peter called. I heard about your parents, he said. If you decide to buy, I'll loan you the money at 3%. Not charity, just a good investment in a reliable partner. You've proved you know what you're doing. Vector used to be a good firm. Shame to watch it die like this. In May, we closed the deal. I bought Vector. I didn't keep the name. We folded both companies into New Course. My parents got enough to pay off their debts and start a modest retirement. At the signing, my dad unexpectedly reached across the table and shook my hand. Thank you, he said. I know you're not doing this for us, but thank you anyway. My mom cried quietly, trying to hide it. Before she left, she handed me a small envelope. This is for Lily, she said, from Grandma. Just a birthday card, if you'll allow it. At home that night, I showed Lily the card. She studied it for a long time. Is Grandma not mean anymore? She asked. I don't know, honey, I answered. People change in different ways, but she's thinking about you. Maybe someday we'll visit them. When you're older, we'll see. June brought Lily's elementary school graduation. She stood on stage in a white dress, reading a poem into the microphone with that serious little face of hers. In the audience, me, Daniel, Megan from our office, and Ellen. who'd basically become a bonus grandma to Lily. And at the very back, by the exit, stood two older people my mom had her phone out filming. My dad just watched. They didn't come over, didn't make a scene, just stood, watched their granddaughter, and slipped away quietly, Lily noticed. "Mom," she whispered later, tugging my sleeve. "That was Grandma and Grandpa, right?" "Yeah, sweetheart." "Why didn't they come say hi?" "Maybe they didn't want to distract from your day," I said. She thought about that, then waved vaguely in the direction of the door. But they were already gone. That night, when I was tucking her in, she said, "Mom, you know what? Our family is small, but it's real. That's better than a big one where everybody's pretending." I kissed the top of her head. "Who taught you to be so wise?" I asked. "Uncle Daniel," she said. "He told me you don't need $100 if you've got a bunch of good friends. We don't have 100, but the ones we do have are awesome." She wasn't wrong. We didn't have 100 friends, but the ones we had were real, and our family, small as it was ours. There was a note from Daniel waiting on the kitchen table when I came out. "Remember how we used to dream about our own company when we were kids?" he'd written. "Where everything's fair and people are treated right? Look around. We actually did it. Mom and Dad sowed the wind and reaped the storm. We sowed something else. Let's see what kind of harvest we get." He was right. We had planted something good, in the shape of a growing business, a loyal team, and, most importantly, a happy kid who knows she's loved just for being herself, not for what she brings to the table. My late grandma used to say, "Don't go looking for better when things are already good." Turns out, she was wrong about that. Sometimes you do have to walk away from the familiar good to find the real thing. The kind without strings, without manipulation, without broken plastic horses and public humiliation. We found it. We built it ourselves. So what do you think? Did I go too far or not far enough? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.